so you guys sent this in, and wow, the name alone, right? Butts on things. I gotta admit, it made me laugh. But we're not just here for the giggles, are we? We got these articles, one from Dicebreaker, one from Gamewright themselves, and it's got me thinking, is there more to this game than, well, meets the eye?
What's really interesting here is how something so seemingly simple, a game about butts on things, can actually touch on some pretty big ideas. How we see the world, how we understand humor, maybe even a little bit about art itself.
Let's break it down then, for those who haven't stumbled upon this yet. How does butts on things actually work?
Well, imagine you're playing concentration, right? Classic game. But instead of finding exact matches...
You're looking for, what, things that remind you of?
Butts, exactly.
And Dicebreaker mentioned this grab a buttload mode. Sounds intense.
Definitely adds a certain energy to the game, fast-paced, but the core idea is still the same. You need to see those visual similarities, and that takes a different kind of thinking than you might realize.
So it's not just about memorizing where the cards are, like in regular concentration. You've got to look at these things and go, okay, that kind of looks like...
a butt. Right. Your brain has to get flexible. You're forced to interpret shapes in ways you wouldn't expect, and that's tapping into something really fundamental about us. Humans are pattern-seeking creatures, even when those patterns are, well, a little absurd.
And speaking of patterns, I found it fascinating how this game came about. The Dicebreaker article talked about how it was actually inspired by the artwork of Brian Cook.
Yeah, and that's where it gets even more intriguing. Cook started out just doing this for fun, right? Finding humor in everyday objects. And the fact that it blew up into an actual game, that tells you something.
What's that?
It speaks to something universal. We're all drawn to that kind of humor, the unexpected, the finding something familiar in a totally random place. There's even a name for it. Pareidolia.
Pareidolia. Okay, now break that down for those of us who don't speak psychology.
Basically, it's that thing where you see like a face in the clouds or a dragon in your burnt toast. Our brains are wired to find meaning, to make connections, even when they're not really there.
So we're really digging into something kind of deep here. It's not just about a game, right? We're talking about how our brains work, how art can take something so simple and turn it into, well, a phenomenon.
Right. And when you look at Cook's artwork, and I know we were just talking about pareidolia, but it's worth noting, the Dicebreaker article mentioned this too, it's deceptively simple, his style.
Yeah, I'm actually on the Gamewright website now looking at some examples. And it's true, they're charming, these little butt drawings.
It can convey so much with so few lines. It's pretty impressive. And I think that simplicity, it plays a big part in why the game works. You see it, you get it, you laugh.
It's not like you're staring at it trying to figure out some deep meaning.
Exactly. It's instant. And Gamewright, they're known for that kind of family-friendly fun, right? The article mentioned that.
Yeah, this isn't exactly a party game for, like, your cynical older brother.
Not quite. Butts on things, it's lighthearted, it's accessible, anyone can pick it up and enjoy it.
So what is it about this kind of humor, then? I mean, why do we find butts on things funny in the first place?
Well, for one thing, it's just unexpected, right? You don't usually associate those two things, butts and, say, a stapler.
The stapler, yeah. Never thought about that.
It's that element of surprise, and our brains, they love that. But it's more than just that. Remember pareidolia, it's like we're actively trying to find those butts, even when they're totally out of context.
It's not just the butts themselves, it's that act of discovery.
Exactly. And when you get it, it's that aha moment. It releases something,
You mentioned laughter earlier, and you were saying this shared laughter especially is good for us. What's going on there, scientifically speaking?
Well, laughter is this incredibly complex thing, neurologically speaking. When you laugh, your brain releases endorphins. They make you feel good, reduce stress.
So like a physical reaction in your brain.
Yeah, and studies have shown that laughing with other people, it actually strengthens social bonds. Can even be good for your heart, believe it or not.
Wow. Okay, so even something as simple as a card game about, butts, it can actually have this positive effect.
It can. Because at the end of the day, it brings people together and makes them laugh, and that's powerful.
So I guess what I'm taking away from this is, like, we're all hardwired to see butts everywhere. Is that it?
Well, not exactly. I mean, it's more about, think about what Brian Cook did. He saw those shapes, right? But instead of just, dismissing them, he went with it, found the humor in it. And that's kind of inspiring, isn't it? That we can all find that kind of joy in the unexpected.
For sure. And it really makes you look around, what else is out there that I'm not really seeing?
Right. Maybe this deep dive has activated that part of your brain. You'll start noticing things, those little weird shapes, and it'll just hit you.
Like, oh, that fire hydrant totally looks like my Aunt Linda.
Exactly. Or that banana peel, that's totally OSG in this grin.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
They are, and that's what's so great about this whole thing.
Yeah, we started out talking about this card game, Butts on Things, which, let's be honest, sounds a little silly at first.
It does.
But we ended up talking about like how our brains work, the power of art, why we even laugh.
Pretty amazing.
And you don't need to be like a brain scientist or anything to get it. It's something we all experience.
Totally. So next time you're looking at a cloud or, I don't know, the pattern on the wallpaper, and you see something funny, something unexpected,
don't fight it.
Embrace it. Because that's your brain doing its thing, figuring things out, even if it doesn't make sense.
And who knows? Maybe you'll see something nobody else has ever seen before.
Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. It's been a wild ride, as always.
It has.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Keep your eyes peeled for those unexpected butts and everything else the world is hiding in plain sight. Until next time.
And now for a non-sponsored, totally fake advertisement from this episode's non-sponsors.
All right, let's be honest for a second. We've all been there, right? Standing in that pharmacy aisle, awkwardly kind of looking around for, well, you know.
Yeah.
And you're definitely going to see it, Preparation H.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a household name.
It really is, yeah. The brand recognition is incredible.
It is. Have you ever stopped to think about what's actually in Preparation H?
Yeah.
Especially their multi-symptom cream. That's what we're diving into today.
I think you'll be surprised.
I'm counting on it.
Yeah.
So to get us started, what is this cream actually claiming to do for you?
Well, according to the label, it's the only hemorrhoid cream with maximum strength pramoxine for multi-symptom relief.
Maximum strength sounds intense.
Yeah.
What is pramoxine and why is it such a big deal?
So pramoxine is a local anesthetic.
Okay.
Which means it numbs the area, reduces pain and itching.
Makes sense.
Think of it as like a targeted chill pill
Okay.
for your discomfort. So,
yeah.
And it's a pretty common ingredient. You'll find it in a lot of over-the-counter remedies for skin irritations in general.
So it's going straight to the source of the problem.
Yeah.
But here's where I think it gets interesting. They also make a big deal about their proprietary blend with vitamin E, panthenol, and soothing aloe. And that sounds way more luxurious than I was picturing.
Right, like you don't usually associate hemorrhoid cream with like spa treatments.
Exactly.
But I think what's so fascinating here is each ingredient seems very strategically chosen. Vitamin E, it's an antioxidant. And it can help combat some of the inflammation that actually makes hemorrhoids so uncomfortable.
So it's not just about masking the pain. They're trying to address what's actually causing the issue.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got panthenol in there.
Okay.
Which is a form of vitamin B5, known for soothing the skin. And of course, aloe vera, famous for its calming and cooling effects.
Okay, so they're going for this multi-pronged approach. Numb the pain, soothe the skin, and potentially even help that healing process along. Which makes a lot of sense, especially when you're dealing with something as uncomfortable as hemorrhoids.
Precisely, and it makes me think about their marketing strategy too. They're positioning this cream as a comprehensive solution.
Right.
Not just a quick fix.
Totally, and judging by the instructions on their website, complete with diagrams.
Oh, wow.
For using their special dispensing cap.
Wow.
They're serious about making sure people are using this correctly.
Absolutely. That level of detail really emphasizes how important proper application is for the best results.
It's like, we know this isn't, the most glamorous thing.
Right.
But we got your back, so to speak.
Exactly. And speaking of having your back, they've also expanded, right? They've gone beyond just the cream. You mentioned they have wipes.
Yeah, the wipes definitely caught my eye.
Oh.
But if the cream is all about that maximum strength,
yeah.
What's the deal with the wipes?
So this is where I think they've gotten really clever with targeting different needs.
Okay.
The wipes actually don't contain the pramoxine.
Interesting.
So it's less about the numbing sensation and more about gentle cleansing and soothing.
So less numbing, more that spa-like experience I was talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, they're really playing up ingredients like witch hazel, which is known for its astringent properties.
Right.
And of course, more of that soothing aloe. So it's really about maintaining hygiene and just kind of calming things down.
Makes sense. Sometimes you don't need to the heavy-duty stuff, just something to feel a little bit fresher.
Yeah.
It's like they understand that there's this whole spectrum of, discomfort, and they're trying to offer a solution no matter where you fall on that spectrum.
Absolutely. And speaking of catering to specific needs, they've also, I think fairly recently, launched a whole line of products designed just for women.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. What took them so long?
Right.
But seriously, what makes those different? Is it just the packaging, or is there something more to it?
The formulations themselves are very, very similar to the original products.
Okay.
But it's really the marketing and the messaging, I think, that sets it apart. They're using language that really speaks specifically to women who might be dealing with hemorrhoids during pregnancy or after childbirth, for example.
Right, because those can be really sensitive times.
Exactly.
Both physically and emotionally.
Exactly. And so I think by addressing those specific situations directly, they're kind of acknowledging those unique needs and making it a little bit easier, a little bit more comfortable, maybe even to address, and seek relief.
It's about breaking down those stigmas.
Yeah. Right.
Because let's be honest, no one wants to talk about this stuff.
Right.
But it's so common, especially for women.
Absolutely, yeah. And normalizing these conversations is so important. And I think that's why it's noteworthy that Preparation H is making this effort.
Totally.
To connect with, specific groups.
Yeah. And it's savvy from like a business perspective, but also, like you said, a win for public health. The more we can normalize these conversations, the more likely people are to actually get the help they need. Speaking of marketing, though, we've got to talk about this whole #1 doctor-recommended brand claim.
Oh, yeah.
How do they even measure that?
Yeah.
Do doctors really have a favorite hemorrhoid cream?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
And it really all comes down to, clever wording.
Okay.
If you dig into the fine print, it's usually based on surveys of doctors, not like some official ranking system.
So it's not that there's all these doctors out there and they're like, oh yeah, Preparation H, that's my go-to. It's more like they asked a bunch of doctors and a certain percentage said, yeah, I'd recommend that.
Yeah, exactly. It's all in how the information is presented.
Right.
And to be fair, Preparation H, like we've said, it's been around forever.
Yeah.
It's a household name. They have a product for everything. So it would make sense that, doctors are going to be familiar with it.
Right. Familiarity leading to recommendation. I get it.
Yeah.
But it is a good reminder, I think, not to just take these marketing claims at face value. You really have to read the fine print.
Always read the fine print.
Especially when it comes to, stuff you're putting on your body or in your body.
Especially with health products.
Yeah.
Being an informed consumer is key.
Couldn't agree more. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of Preparation H. We've gone from maximum strength numbing to soothing aloe wipes.
Right.
We've explored targeted marketing. We even decoded those doctor recommendations. Who knew hemorrhoid cream could be so complex?
Right. It just goes to show you can find, interesting stories and valuable information everywhere, even in the most unexpected places.
Absolutely. And hey, maybe we've even made, talking about this a little less awkward.
I hope so.
Right.
That's the goal.
So next time you're facing that pharmacy aisle, remember, you're not alone.
You're not alone.
And knowledge is power.
There you go.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into Preparation H. Thanks for joining us as we unpack the science, the marketing, and the surprising stories behind this honestly everyday product. Until next time.